And you're tuned in to The Trends right here on TV3. My name is AJ Akwako Sapo. A very big thank you to First Choice for my gorgeous hair. And of course, reminding you that in a few short days, it will be my birthday on Monday. So say a prayer for me when the day comes. But now it's time to get into my very exciting conversation with some of the most incredible people you can get, speaking on the issues and saying it as it is. I'm starting off with my extreme left. He is a blogger with the news portal 1957 News, and a gentleman who's no stranger to the show and definitely shares his opinion. It is Nene Odompe. Hi, Nene. It's good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I like your pink.
Oh, why, thank you. Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah,
throwing in a little pink.
To wear pink as well.
No, real men wear pink, but I know you guys wear pink on the usual anyway, so you're not wearing it today, so it's not a problem. But also inviting, I think this should be his first time on the show. Yeah. He's no stranger to our network, of course. He's a producer for Ghana Tonight, an Esquire, a freshly minted Esquire of great intellect. Ladies and gentlemen, it's P.D. Wedam, a.k.a. Dennis Wedam Berry. Yes, got it. But Esquire, thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
I mean, this is my debut appearance.
It is, and I'm excited. I'm excited you made time to join us today, and we're really excited about, because a lot of it is rooted in law, and we need to definitely understand what the parameters are on both sides before we really get a proper understanding of it. But also, no stranger to the show, and someone who definitely likes to say it as it is media personality, and a gentleman who throws in some proverbs in the midst of the talking as well, is Lord Asarba Thunder. It's good to have you.
I think I have a touch of pink.
It's a touch beside. It's like pink entering violet, but we'll take it like that. We'll take it like that. We'll take it like that.
Yeah, happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
You know, I decided to shelve mine. Mine was on the 17th.
All right.
So I decided to
You're
put
pausing for
so
me.
that
Oh my God. Thank you.
Yes, I want to
we'll have a celebration.
Thank you to Sugar Chrome Barbers for mine.
Oh, for your nice look here. Sugar Chrome Barbers. Yes, we like it. We like them.
You may as well extend the happy birthday wishes to me as well.
Oh, when is your birthday?
It's October.
Yes.
Oh, my. Sorry, it's October boards on here. October boards.
The last one of October.
Oh, wow. It's exciting to see. I know, you're the only non-October, but it's okay. We accept you into our midst. We accept you into our midst. But gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you, AJ.
How are we feeling? How's our week been? Good?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been
hectic, but good?
It's a mixture of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That one,
But that is a balance of life.
Always expected. Yeah. But I'll start it off with you, Esquire. I would want to know the process, because the general idea of the interpretation of how the speaker put it is to create or maintain party loyalty. When people come into the House of Parliament, they stay in the House of Parliament on the side they've chosen to represent. Now, by allowing people cross carpet, it sort of creates some sort of confusion in the House. So those that have declared their interest in the upcoming election should now not get the opportunity to represent the people. But give me a background onto it, because there's been precedents already set prior. Please give us some background to it.
Well, so, and now that this has become a subject of controversy, it's now down to how various parties interpret this and what they think it should mean. But when you look at it on the face of it, and within the context of this cross-carpeting thing, it's just like you rightly explained. How you came to Parliament be like that and exit. You came with a certain bus, be in that bus. They know what is happening when somebody comes into Parliament, and for some reason, a certain bus, and for some reason, you want to switch just like that. The idea is that if anybody is engaged in that, you'd have to lose your seat. Because when you look at it, one, it's marks of some sort of dishonesty.
True.
Because you came on the back of a certain party on a certain ticket. People voted for you on that particular score. Then when you get there, instead of you to represent that constituency of people, you switch. Said, no, we won't allow that to happen.
Okay.
So that's the basic idea of it. And in the past, we've seen MPs who have attempted to do that openly, and they lost their seats.
Okay.
But what we are dealing with now is a peculiar situation.
How so?
Peculiar situation because of a recent precedent that had happened.
Okay.
You recall in 2020, when the then MP for Mina, he's now the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
Who's also the one in contention.
Yes, who's also the one of them. Yes. Yes. So he had fallen out with his party and decided to file to contest as an independent candidate. His party, MPP, did not take it lightly. The General Secretary then wrote a letter to Parliament to say that this person who came to Parliament on our ticket is no longer a member of our party. In fact, they invoked a provision in their constitution to say that anybody who engages in that, I think that's Article 39 of the MPP constitution. In their interpretation of their constitution, once you do that, it's automatic.
You have lost your seat.
You have forfeited membership of the party.
Okay.
So based on that, they wrote to the Speaker to say this person who came to Parliament as an MPP person is no longer a member by virtue of his filing to contest as an independent candidate. So what we saw was then Speaker Michael Kui give a ruling, and the effect of that ruling was that he had to vacate his seat. So that was established.
Wow.
At the point, there was no controversy as to whether there needed to be an interpretation of this Article 97 of the 1992 Constitution.
It was taken as it is.
It was taken as it is.
Because it was beneficial then.
Yes. So the impression had been created as though
that is the true
interpretation of it.
Okay.
Then we find ourselves in this situation where 3 MPP MPs, sorry, not 3, 2 of them who intend to contest as independent candidates in the 2024 election, which means that they are intending to come to the next parliament
as independent candidates.
As independent candidates, not this parliament. There's also one part, that same MP who had switched from NDC to contest as independent, came back to the House, decided to do business with. And I think going forward with this discussion, we would need to understand what it means to do business with a party or to sit with a party rather than you saying or you switching completely. Because when you look at it closely, it is just a smart way of switching without saying you have switched.
Okay.
But I think in the larger context of the conversation, that's one thing we're not looking at. But that's besides the point. Now, these 2 MPs are caught within, in the estimation of the former minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, he thinks that these 2 MPs are caught within that provision of Article 97.
Absolutely.
Where they now intend to go and contest as independent candidates. It falls squarely within the context or the facts of the former MP as it was in 2020. So that was his contention. He brought that to Parliament. In the former MP's case, he now wants to contest on the ticket of the MPP again. He says that for him too, he falls within that category. So we have 3.
Okay.
Now, there's also another NDC MP. Of course, that is whom? It is for the NDC.
Yes.
So he also wants to contest as an independent candidate. He also falls in the category of MPs who are from party and now wanted to go independent. They come to the House. Then he says, okay, this is the situation. We have seen this before. It's another matter which has come. So let's just get to it. Now, what happened was that, Parliament was supposed to resume on a Tuesday. And that Tuesday, I think, was on the 15th of October. Haruna Idrisu had given a hint on the 13th, which was a Sunday, that this was what they intended to do. And knowing the nature of this parliament as we have it, it's a hung parliament, split parliament, 137 members for the NDC, 137 for the MPP, there's an independent candidate. So the slightest touch of the numbers, you switch balance. Yes. So when he gave the indication on Sunday, Monday, Majority Leader Afanyo Makin headed to the Supreme Court. His relief was simple. That on the proper and true interpretation of Article 97, 1 H and G, an MP who decides to express an interest or even file to contest the next parliamentary election, that is to be a member of parliament in the next parliament, will not automatically lose his or her seat. And that's when we interpret it properly, it should not lead to that conclusion.
But then it was good when it was done in 2020.
The conversation did not even take, or he did not even take into consideration, that matter, because the fact he put before the court was that let's interpret this, and when we interpret it, it should not lead to those people losing their seats. And again, that the Speaker should be injuncted from even considering any petition to that effect.
Wow.
Yes, that was on Monday.
Okay.
He tried to serve the processes because, of course, when you go to court and you file a case against somebody, the person needs to be served. It appeared there was he wasn't successful at that. But it would later show that he made attempts and those attempts were resisted. The court will interpret that in a certain way. But that's a different point altogether. Just so we have the story flowing. That did not happen. So on Tuesday, the petition was put before the Speaker. That this is the situation we have. We want you, it was put forward by the minority leader, Dr. Kesla Tuforson. Let's have these MPs vacate their seats. The Speaker said, okay, this is a very delicate matter. Give me 48 hours. I'll get back to you. That was on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We all were looking forward to what was going to happen.
On that Thursday.
Now, Thursday comes. Speaker says that I have been in this house. I have seen what has happened before. There's a precedent. And even beyond the precedent, when I look at that provision myself, and I hear people make the argument that it should not affect members now, but it should affect a future parliament, it does not sit right with me.
Absolutely.
Because if we are allowed that to happen, it would not even, nobody will be affected. Because by the time, say, one of the MPs, let's say Cynthia Morrison,
comes in as independent.
That's
a new slate.
That's a new, yes.
She's not punished for anything.
She wouldn't have switched anyway.
Yeah.
So that was the Speaker's reasoning.
Right.
That he does not agree that it applies to the next parliament. But if we are going to go by that, it makes the law, excuse my language, a no law. So the Speaker, based on that, declared the seats vacant. And that was the beginning of all the troubles.
Well, speaking of which, we have an amazing wrap-up video, courtesy 3 News. Take a look.
In the early hours of Tuesday, October 22, both sides came prepared. Security in Parliament was unusually heightened, with a conspicuous military presence signaling the gravity of the ongoing standoff between the NPP and the NDC. Parliament was officially scheduled to open its doors at 8 o'clock a.m. Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodonpre arrived earlier and was seen inside the chamber well before the appointed time.
It's up to the Speaker. Orderliness in the chamber and the presence of Parliament is in the bosom of the Speaker.
This breach of protocol sparked allegations from the NDC's Chief Whip, Kwame Agbodza-Govins, who claimed that Anodonpre had been smuggled into Parliament with the help of the security personnel.
Why is Anodonpre already sitting in there? When we were told that the room opens at 8 o'clock, yes. He's already sitting in there. So they are the ones who are going to cause the fight. Yes.
In a rare and highly symbolic move, the NDC side of the House, led by their leader, Kaisala Tufosing, occupied the majority side of the chamber for the first time since the infamous chaos during the election of the Speaker. The backdrop to this audacious act, Speaker Alban Gbagben's declaration last week that 4 parliamentary seats were vacant, tilting the balance of power in favor of the NDC. But with the Supreme Court freezing Gbagben's ruling, the NPP continued to insist they hold the majority, sparking a constitutional tug-of-war. As the day began, the NPP members of Parliament, led by Alexander Pinyo-Makin, were not prepared to engage in a direct confrontation over the seating arrangement. In a gesture aimed at avoiding chaos, the NPP staged a strategic walkout, retreating to their offices, while their political rivals laid claim to the majority seats.
We will not give that lawless platform that NDC is seeking. We will not give them that theater they so aggressively seek. They should disrupt democracy and to destroy our nation. We believe that the appropriate thing is to quietly yield to them and wait upon Mr. Speaker.
Hours later, Speaker Alban Gbagben returned to the House, his presence eagerly awaited as the nation looked to him for clarity on the next steps. Gbagben's tone was measured as he acknowledged that Parliament lacked the numbers to make binding decisions, but could conduct business.
I note that we currently have a quorum to transact business, but not to take decisions.
Then came his long-awaited direction for proceedings.
In view of the current circumstances, the fact that there is a question on the composition and constitution of Parliament, and having regard to the public interest and the exigencies of the state of affairs in Parliament, I will proceed to, in accordance with Standing Orders 59, adjourn the House indefinitely. That is sine die.
The Speaker's ruling, though expected by some, rendered both sides unable to proceed with legislative business until a resolution is reached. The weight of his words hung over the now empty chamber like a storm cloud. The bigger question now looms: what happens next?
Okay, coming back. And yes, that was a report by Noble Crosby Annan for the TV3 newsroom, wrapping up what was a very exciting day this week. Now, coming back to the subject at hand, so now that it's sort of unfolded this way, it's been suspended indefinitely. I know the MPP is now making a foray into trying to reconvene Parliament. What does that mean? Is that possible?
Yes, very possible. They've done it before.
Okay.
I mean, when Parliament was on recess not long ago, they had to invoke those provisions to have Parliament summoned. It's very possible. Okay. All they need to do is to get 15% of the members of Parliament to sign that they want the Speaker to convene a meeting. 15% translates to like 42 MPs minimum.
And
that's
easy
over
to get.
80 of them to sign. Got 84 or so, over 80 of them to sign to call for that meeting. So within 7 days, the Speaker is expected to convene Parliament again. My question is, when they come, what next?
So, because at this point, it would seem as if there's been no declaration on who really is the majority or the minority as of now, and what the Supreme Court's interpretation of it is going to be. So, when they come to Parliament, what is likely to happen? Well, so the expectation is that even before they come to Parliament, they need to have behind-the-scene conversations. Because if they do not have those conversations, what we saw happen 2 days ago is likely to repeat itself, because it looks like both parties have taken entrenched positions. Very much so. Neither is willing to yield to the other. But of course, when they come back, first they would need to also look at how many members are in the chamber, like he did in the previous sitting, to see whether they form a quorum first to transact business, and if they form a quorum to even take any decision. It's possible they will form a quorum to transact, to be able to sit or to have a sit. That quorum is just 1/3. You can always get that one. But the quorum to take a decision, that is always difficult. So if they do not have those numbers, then it becomes a difficulty. So the future looks uncertain, but when it comes to the question of whether or not it's possible for Parliament to be summoned, it is possible. And the process is already in session. Okay. The memo we have seen was dated 22nd of October. Right. If indeed it was submitted that day, it means latest by 31st October, Parliament in between, any of those days in between, should be able to come back. Okay. Well, getting into a few of your tweets, and you've been talking about it, getting into the first one, J.K. Mauko, in reference to Speaker Alban Bagbin, says, "You're one of the best we've ever had on that hot seat. God strengthen you, sir." Kofi at Papa Adama says, "Best speaker in our generation." Nane Z says, "You are a best bet to uphold our democracy. If Nanado decided to mess everything up, at least Bagbin should save this one." Emmanuel says, "Imagine listening to someone speak on such a sensitive issue and he flawlessly deals with it in such a way that you don't know if you should smile or cry. Champion, #Bagbin." Sir D. Ben says, "Unarguably, the leader of Parliament, Speaker Bagbin, has proven to be wiser and knowledgeable than the other leaders of the other arms of government. Speaker Bagbin is the true GOAT." Orlando Yao at Terrific 22 says, "It will be interesting if Supreme Court calls Parliament to resume sitting tomorrow. Somebody should lead." JB at JA Boysiakon says, "We expected him to defy the Supreme Court's ruling, but he surprised us. Don't take NDC's Twitter guru boys seriously anymore." Now, on the issue of the Supreme Court and their interpretation of it, they declared a stay on basically his stance on it. Now, the Supreme Court's coming in, there's also been different varied opinions that maybe Supreme Court is not necessarily in the position to be able to judge that, should have gone to a high court instead. And as well, we see differences on people's views on how the Supreme Court's been dealt with and the expediency which it had attracted all of them gathering to be able to do so. Your views on what they are analyzing, is the Supreme Court have the general overview to interpret things even with Parliament, really? Yes. I mean, when it comes to the views that have been shared about it, we find ourselves in a situation whereby you can hold your opinion or you can disagree with the Supreme Court. But when they make a pronouncement, it is what it is. Okay. So what I'm basically saying is that when it comes to matters of interpretation, there is a law that clearly states who is supposed to interpret, especially our Constitution. Okay. It lies with the Supreme Court to do so, and that's exactly what they have done. There may have been issues with the process and the procedure, which people may have criticized,
But as long as they have given their ruling, until they themselves decide to review that ruling, it is what it is.
Can the Speaker defy that ruling?
Well, the Speaker can defy that ruling, but it also comes with certain consequences.
Such as?
Contempt of court.
Okay.
Yes, so those are, there's always a consequence for whatever you do. So you can choose to do it and then brace yourself for the consequence. As to whether but those are also issues that sometimes it's not automatic. Somebody perhaps would have to, or they themselves will have to summon you for contempt, or somebody will have to bring contempt proceedings against you and all that. But the point that has to be made is that, yes, the Speaker can defy, but it also comes with some consequences.
Okay. And that on our screens, notice of meeting by request under Article 112(3) and Order 53 of the Standing Orders, asking for the Parliament to reconvene and stating the legal basis for this request. Now, let me come to Asoriba and as well to Nene. Asoriba, your view on a lot of the things that have sort of unfolded over the last few days in Parliament.
Yes, I think you made mention of the fact that the idea of not allowing MPs who want to cross carpet whilst they're in Parliament, you know, to do that is to ensure that they don't lose the loyalty they have for the party that brought them there. They don't want them to leave the bars. But you see, you realize that this kind of democracy we are practicing seems to benefit a few.
In what sense?
So now, all those in Parliament, with the exception of the Speaker, who was not elected by a constituent, you are there because people wanted you to be there. Right? So you derived your power to be in Parliament from the electorate in your constituency that voted for you.
Right.
So between your party and the constituents, okay, who are you supposed to
serve, really?
Serve? Who are you supposed to be loyal to? Is it the party or the constituency?
But in most cases, at least in Ghana's jurisdiction, the party brings you to Parliament more than, like, the party sort of funnels the way for you to get into Parliament. So the thing is the party that gives you the ticket to run. But it's the constituents that vote for you. True.
You understand? So as we said, so the bus that took you to Parliament, stay in that bus. Don't leave. Again, the constituents expect you to remain loyal to them. But they go to Parliament. Hardly do parliamentarians come back to the constituents to tell them, okay, so we are going to discuss this bill. What are your opinions on this bill?
That's true. They go with the majority.
So they
go
and represent their party rather than the constituent.
True.
It's evident. And again, we've had MPs, okay, sitting MPs, who have decided not to contest at the same constituency that they are representing. So this one, the person is not changing the political party, but the person is switching constituency. What about that one? Is it fair to the constituents? So we voted for you to represent us. You are the MP for our constituency. Now you are in Parliament, but you are going for another election, and you decide to contest in a different constituency. So if you think that the person should stay loyal to the party, in that same vein, some of us think that the person should remain, loyal to the constituents. Aside